Hello guys, it's been 2 months since I last posted a YouTube video, and in my previous video, I mentioned I was getting surgery done on my right hip. More specifically, it was a hip arthroscopy. So in this video, I'll just be updating you guys 2 months post-surgery, whether the hip arthroscopy was successful in achieving what I wanted, and I hope this video will lie as a good basis for anyone at all who's thinking of getting a hip arthroscopy. So, the hip arthroscopy was done with the intention of removing a cam lesion, which is a type of hip impingement, but also known as a FAI. At the same time, the surgery was going to repair my torn labrum. Now, before the hip arthroscopy, which is pre-surgery, what were the general symptoms I suffered from the hip impingement? Number one, I had very tight hip flexors, which could never be relieved despite the amount of stretching. Number two, there was a bump in my right hip which could be felt throughout the day, whether it be standing, walking, sitting, or even lying down. Number three, I had discomfort whenever trying to flex or extend my hip. Now this was very bad because it prevented me from squatting with full range of motion or even doing lunges. And number four, pain would arise whenever I was walking for a long period of time, sprinting, jogging, and worst of all, sitting for a long period of time. So, what convinced me to get the surgery? Well, to be honest, I was simply just defeated. The symptoms started arising in early 2021. Although during that time it wasn't very bad yet, I didn't really know what was happening to me. I simply thought my muscles were just tired. But as time moved on, until the period where I got my surgery, which is April 2023, the symptoms gradually got worse and worse. It was so bad to the point that my lower back was starting to compensate for my weak right hip. So when I came to London, I finally approached a hip surgeon, a very capable hip surgeon, who identified my problem and gave me several options on how we are going to manage it. Of course, the first option we chose was physiotherapy. So he recommended me to an amazing physiotherapist. And despite working hard for 6 months, we weren't really able to achieve what was intended. So in the end, my physiotherapist gave me the green light to approach the surgical option. And in April 2023, I got the hip arthroscopy. So it's 2 months post-surgery now. Did the hip arthroscopy work? Is my right hip finally healthy? Did I achieve what I want? So as you guys can see, I am recording this video while sitting down. So I think that itself says that the hip arthroscopy worked in my favor. Of course, it's still 2 months post-surgery. The healing process is 6 months in total. And I still have to work hard for 4 months during the rehabilitation period. But it is safe to say that I think my right hip is finally back on track. But I definitely underestimated the post-surgery rehabilitation. What I expected, and I hope you guys don't have really high expectations, is that your symptoms would still remain after the surgery for about a month or so. Well, in my case, it was around 1 month. I still had the sensation of a bump in my right hip. I still had difficulty trying to flex my hip. It was still very, very uncomfortable in the first month, but you will start to see improvements every fortnight. So, what is my advice to those who's thinking of getting a hip arthroscopy or is simply suffering from a hip impingement? Number one, you have to try to manage it conservatively. And when I mean manage it conservatively, I don't mean going on YouTube to look for solutions or reading a bunch of articles telling you what to do on the internet. You have to approach a very good physiotherapist who is well versed in this field. Most of the time, he will be recommended to you by your hip surgeon or by your doctor. I, for example, was able to meet my physiotherapist who managed my hip conservatively before the surgery and also the post-surgery rehabilitation. Number two, you have to approach a hip surgeon first. Now, I had the pleasure of meeting the hip expert himself, Dr. Ali Bajwa, in London. He's an amazing hip surgeon. He was able to avoid all the nerve complications, any possibilities of infections post-surgery, and honestly, I'm very happy that he was the one to perform the surgery on me. So, my final advice is you have to trust yourself when making the decision. If you truly have given it your all when trying to manage your hip conservatively, whether it be from stretching every day or strengthening your glutes every day, if nothing seems to be working, maybe the surgical route could be the solution. Me, for example, I really tried my best trying to manage my hip conservatively for 6 months before the surgery, but I was just not able to find that long term of relief I really wanted. So I am very grateful to my hip surgeon and my physiotherapist for guiding me throughout this journey. And it is very, very liberating to be able to sit for a long period of time. I can't express it to words, but I'm so at peace, you know? And it's crazy how I used to suffer from hip impingement every day to now being able to enjoy the things in life. Not just that, but to be able to focus on my task in hand. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing stopping me now that I'm finally rid of that problem. So I must tell you, it is very exciting. So thank you for tuning in into this update video. I'm looking forward to be releasing a lot more content for you guys regarding spinal health and hip health. I guess this YouTube channel I'll be dedicating myself to bringing awareness to spinal health and hip health because I still think it is very underrated topic in the world of postural health. So, yep. Thank you guys. And I'll see you guys soon.
Better already, suddenly. Wait, slowly, I know your low back, but don't feel
Only after you hit someone.